Hello everyone. In our continuity of revising 11th class NCERT, now I am taking the chapter called Drainage System from our 11th class Physical Geography, that is India Physical Environment. In the last video, I talked about river as an active agent of gradation, and precisely it makes a best continuity for us to talk about different types of drainage systems that we have in our country, because that actually gives us the support to talk about drainage pattern, drainage basin, and what are the ways by which we can classify the drainage systems in terms of a larger perspective, because we are talking about India only right now, and that perspective help us to comprehend much higher in efficiency, as in how to segregate river systems in real time perspective. Himalayan rivers are in young stage. I am referring what we talked about in the last video. Peninsular rivers are in mature or old stage. So automatically Himalayan rivers will be more engaged in valley deepening. And when we talk about peninsular rivers, they are more engaged in valley widening. So it gives me a sort of example that helps me consolidate how river as an active agent of gradation functions. So chapter number 3 of our NCERT, India Physical Environment, the drainage system of India. Let us get to the details of it. So here we begin with our chapter number 3, Drainage System of India. Now the chapter begins with a general introduction which we don't want to take into the details, but I just want you to pick up this box item right here, slightly zooming in. The flow of water through a well-defined channel is known as drainage, and the network of such channels is called drainage system. So pick up the terms very cautiously. Drainage goes for river, stream, and drainage system is river and its tributaries, river network. So if I have to select the example to prove it, what I'll say? River Ganga makes an example of stream, whereas Gangetic system is river network. If I read it further, it reads, the drainage pattern of an area is the outcome of. So there are the factors, it is the outcome of geological time, period, nature and structure of rock, topography, slope, amount of water flowing and the periodicity of the flow. So that means if I have to list the factors, which are the factors that facilitates drainage pattern of a given location, I'll say it is outcome of geological time, it is the outcome of structure of the rock, it is also the outcome of topography and slope, which we learned in our last video, and it is also the outcome of what is the periodicity. Periodicity, the term that we apply is called regime, writing it here. Is the river water volume static always, or it marks up its variation? So we take reference of drainage and drainage system. What is drainage? Surface runoff. And what is drainage system? Drainage system makes example of network of main river and its tributary. The another box item with which I'll take you to the diagram is this. It reads important drainage patterns. And if I have to talk about important drainage pattern, as is mentioned in our NCERT, one is dendritic, 2 is radial, 3 is trellis, and 4 is centripetal. Before I read it from NCERT, let us take note of this diagram. Pattern of drainage equals network. And if I have to take this networking, I can actually talk about 3 different types of the pattern one by one. Our NCERT also talks about one, dendritic. Dendritic is best defined as tree-like. And if I talk about rectangular and trellis, I actually talk about near parallel with right angle merger. Practical difference between two becomes not that defined. However, when I say rectangular, I more emphasize on right angle merger, and trellis majorly goes with parallel. And to understand it, let us quickly zoom it and interpret. If my drainage pattern has got tributaries, say this is my main river. Main river incorporate range of tributaries which overall creates the network. Now remind yourself, we are talking about a network here. It is creating a network which is giving me a look of a tree. So which type of drainage pattern it is? It is dendritic drainage pattern, and the dendritic drainage pattern is largely seen in the peninsular rivers like Godavari river system. I'll make you understand this eventually. See this? It is where we are taking it. Theoretically, we take it with the joint rock strata where river will be excellently and much more easily cutting down the joints and creating this pattern. So if I see the diagram outside this box, are we noticing the right angle merger? Which type of drainage pattern it is? It is rectangular drainage pattern. Rectangular drainage pattern essentially goes with perpendicular merger of tributaries with its main stream. I again see it dominantly in peninsular river system of our country. And if I see this figure here, because I am talking about network right now, if on a face value it is being referred, it again gives me a right angle merger, but additionally it is giving me a parallel confluence. If you can see this stream and this stream. So which type of pattern it is? It is trellis pattern. Trellis pattern can thus be called parallel pattern as well. Compared to all these, which is related to network, when I talk about right here, radial drainage pattern is not with a river system, it is basically with a different river. So see this elevated tableland here and the channels which are descending on all the different slopes. So this is my elevated land and these are the spreading out channel. So radial drainage will be number 1, applicable to streams of different system, and number 2, it is centrifugal drainage. NCERT in contrary gives us a term, that is centripetal. So I am just changing the arrow. Are you noticing it? Centrifugal and centripetal, I think, is more or less self-explaining term. So centripetal where we are draining at a central depression, centrifugal when we are moving away from an elevated platform. How do I distinguish between different types of drainage pattern in the country? You have to understand it with 2 important things. For network and for streams. Network, you can have dendritic, rectangular and trellis. For individual stream, you will have centrifugal, centripetal. Going to NC, dendritic, radial, centripetal, trellis. We have also added rectangular. Two things we have noticed right now. Number one, what is meant by drainage or stream versus what is meant by drainage network. This is first thing. And second thing we have learned is important drainage pattern, which will be applicable to both the categories. The Indian drainage system may be divided on various bases. Basis number one, on the basis of discharge of water, that is orientation to the sea. So how many groups we divide it into? Two: Arabian Sea drainage and Bay of Bengal drainage. Nearly 77% of drainage area consisting of Ganga, Brahmaputra and Mahanadi, Krishna, etc. is oriented towards Bay of Bengal. So if I say Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea drainage, I'll say maximum of the runoff is oriented towards Bay of Bengal. NCERT reads nearly 77%. So 23% comprising Indus, Narmada, Tapi, Mahi, Periyar system has got their water in Arabian Sea. So what's first way of classifying Indian drainage is on the basis of where the discharge of water is oriented towards. So I have got two types. One is Bay of Bengal drainage and two is Arabian Sea. Bay of Bengal takes lion's share. NCERT also reads. Number two, on the basis of size of watershed. Size of watershed, we divide Indian drainage basin into major, more than 20,000 square kilometer, medium, 2,000 to 20,000 square kilometer, and minor, less than 2,000 square kilometer. And if we have to take the reference of the major drainage basin, NCERT refers us 14 drainage basins, make examples of major. They have got catchment area of more than 20,000 square kilometer. The rest of them goes with the minor area. Now, what exactly is the size of watershed? What exactly is the term that we apply to denote it? We want to learn it with the reference of a single point of this diagram. Before I take you there, I want to quickly pick up the classification given in NCERT. Number 3, on the basis of mode of origin. And basically mode of origin is the principal criteria. That is where we classify Indian drainage into Himalayan drainage and peninsular drainage. And the classification that is there in our NCERT is based on this third classification. So on what basis we classify Indian drainage into? It is 3 bases on which we classify Indian drainage. One is where the discharge is oriented towards, second is what is the catchment area, and third is what is the mode of origin, whether I am originating from Himalayas or my origination is from Peninsula. This is how we demarcate our river system into 3 categories. All of them overlaps without any doubt. Now, in order to understand the size of watershed, let us first take NCERT map. I am highlighting this line which has been focused in our NCERT. And it basically is comprised of Sahyadri, Vindhyan, Satpura and Aravali. And mind it, what we have just highlighted is called National Water Divide. What is a water divide? Water divide is that elevated land which tends to separate the flow of rivers on the either side. So if you slightly zoom in, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, moving east, Painganga south, Chambal right here, north, river Luni west, Banas east. What exactly we are saying? Vindhyans and Satpuras tend to segregate flow of north and south flowing rivers. Aravali tends to segregate the flow of Gangetic network and the largest inland drainage of our country. And Sahyadri, Western Ghats, forms the boundary line between big east flowing peninsular rivers and small west flowing, which is not visible here. So, we will be talking about it in details later. So, national water divide. What is a national water divide? National water divide is that line which is comprised of certain important physiographic units, namely Vindhyans, Satpuras, Aravali and Sahyadri, that tends to segregate the flow of major river systems of the country. The Himalayan river system has biggest river system called Gangetic system. So, if I have to start with river Ganga originating in Uttarakhand drains via Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and enters Bangladesh as Padma. Its only distributary called Hooghly drains in West Bengal. And river Ganga, the biggest river system of our country, has got river Yamuna, the largest right bank tributary and the only tributary which is merging, Himalayan tributary which is merging on its right bank. Whenever I talk about rivers, so this is river Ganga, I need to stand at its source and thereby judge up the right and the left bank. So, if river Yamuna is confluencing here, river Yamuna becomes right bank tributary and river Ghagra will become left bank tributary. That logic we need to understand. So, the biggest river system, river Yamuna, is the tributary on right bank, river Ghagra, Ghagra river, left bank tributary, Gandak river, left bank tributary, Kosi river, left bank tributary, Son river, right bank tributary. And mind it, Damodar will be right bank tributary of Hooghly. Biggest river system, Himalayan river system, is Gangetic system. And when we talk about Gangetic system and take reference of all the rivers that we can correlate with it, we essentially talk about the rivers that have got its source from Himalayas, but just not miss out on referring river Son. This is Son river, its tributary Rihand, and the tributaries of Yamuna. Just a minute back I talked about national water divide. So, if I believe this to be Vindhyan range and this as Satpura with Maikal range here, I am actually sourcing the rivers which are confluencing north. So, river Chambal, river Betwa are tributaries of Yamuna and then joins in Ganga. That is the reason whenever comparison comes in, we say Son is the prominent most peninsular tributary of Ganga, because rest of the big rivers, Chambal any day is a bigger river compared to Son, but Chambal first confluences with Yamuna before confluencing with Ganga. Before I take you to any other details, let me just add, because once it comes to the Gangetic river system, one important thing follows, and what is that? Prayags. I want you to notice Prayags as the points of confluence, and these confluences have 5 of them confined in the state of Uttarakhand. And now which are they? Zooming in. River Alaknanda confluencing with river Dhauli Ganga. Is Vishnu Prayag. This confluence flow of Alaknanda and Dhauli Ganga have confluence with Nandakini. So this confluence is, this is Vishnu Prayag, this confluence is Nand Prayag, Nandakini, Nand Prayag. And then the confluence flow back to back is confluenced with Pindar, river Pindar. We also call it Pindar Ganga, Pindar is also correct, confluencing with Alaknanda at Karna Prayag, and river Mandakini confluencing with river Alaknanda is Rudra Prayag. I am repeating, river Dhauli with Alaknanda, Vishnu Prayag, river Nandakini with Alaknanda, this is Alaknanda river, is Ananda Prayag, and then river Alaknanda with Pindar is Karna Prayag, and Mandakini with Alaknanda is Rudra Prayag. After this, we very commonly talk about it, Gangotri, right here. So Kedarnath is on Mandakini and Gangotri is source of Bhagirathi. River Bhagirathi confluences with river Alaknanda at Dev Prayag. 5 Prayags in Uttarakhand. And if I have to just extend, this is Ganga and I have made it descend to plain, and this is Yamuna and I have made it descend to plain. It is Prayag Raj, Uttar Pradesh. From Yamunotri, Yamuna. Largest river system of our country, Gangetic system. Gangetic system in its upper flow. Gangetic system in its upper flow has got 5 major prayags in Uttarakhand and 1 in Uttar Pradesh, Prayagraj, erstwhile Allahabad. The Himalayan river system of the country is also including Brahmaputra system. And Brahmaputra system, I need to pick it up like this. This is Yarlong Zangbo and have entered India. Now Yarlong Zangbo or Sangpo as it is called in Tibet, China, once have entered India, it is called river Dihang. River Dihang confluence with river Luhit marked up here and river Diwang becomes Brahmaputra. Please notice rising from Sikkim, Tista, rising from Tibet via Bhutan to India, Manas, and Subansiri, we have talked about this earlier, makes examples of tributaries of Brahmaputra. So this is Subansiri river. Attempt Subansiri is dash bank tributary of Brahmaputra, right bank. Tista will be tributary of Jamuna, Jamuna as it is referred in Bangladesh. Tista otherwise is an independent flow. So Brahmaputra river system, and I am quickly highlighting Gangetic system also. Are we noticing that river Ganga confluencing with river Yamuna, river Ghagra confluencing with river Ganga, so is Gandak, so is Kosi, is giving me a clear feel of parallel movement, trellis. But as and how I will be adding the networking of tributary, I can have a logic of dendritic to it also. But largely it is which type? It is trellis type. Repeating it, peninsular and extra peninsular is the prominent divide. And when I talk about extra peninsular Himalayan, so which is the river system that takes the largest area? It's Gangetic system. Gangetic system goes with Prayag. How many prayags we have in our country? We have got 5 prayags in Uttarakhand and we also have got one in Uttar Pradesh. So 5 Prayags, which is actually making Dhauli Ganga with Alaknanda, Vishnu Prayag, Nandakini with Alaknanda, Nand Prayag. Karna Prayag is confluence of Pindar with Alaknanda, Rudra Prayag is Mandakini with Alaknanda, and Dev Prayag, from where we mark the beginning of river Ganga. That is the reason it is called Dev Prayag. Alaknanda and Bhagirathi confluence. If I have to talk about peninsular rivers, I'll ask you to carefully notice one by one. Among the big peninsular rivers, we can easily pick up river Godavari, river Krishna, east flowing river, river Kaveri, and river Mahanadi. Because ideally speaking, what comes up in our mind when we talk about big peninsular rivers? So big peninsular rivers are Godavari, this is Godavari river system, this is Krishna river system, this is Kaveri river system, writing it here, and this is Mahanadi river system. Now think about it yourself. When I take national water divide and I am just putting up a dotted line here, does it come convincing that among the big peninsular rivers, it is Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri that rises from Sahyadri. Mahanadi is rising from the plateau right here, Dandakarnaya. It is not rising with Western Ghats. So has to be very clearly taken. And if I now try to develop the network of tributaries, big ones are given here. I'll be labeling it one by one. Carefully see this. Are we developing the network which is looking somewhere matching to what we have already learned? That Mahanadi largely incorporate a right angle merger of tributaries. Mahanadi makes an excellent example of rectangular drainage. In comparison, when I take Godavari, Krishna, I am more taking it as example of dendritic pattern. And basically you can recognize the tributaries here. Indravati, Vainganga, this is Peinganga, this is Manjara. Manjara will be which bank? Tributary of Godavari, right bank. And notice the names of the rivers here. This is Tungabhadra. Tungabhadra is right bank tributary of Krishna, whereas Bhima is left bank tributary of Krishna. And whenever we talk about big peninsular rivers, without the reference of which we are not, and of course Kaveri can be taken as example of rectangular drainage. So let me first give you a quick reminder of what we have learned. There are 4 big peninsular river systems of the country, and these peninsular river systems have got 3 river systems, namely number 1 Godavari, number 2 Krishna, and number 3 Kaveri, that are rising from Western Ghats. However, Mahanadi, number 4, rises from plateau of Dandakarnaya. Number 2 that we have learned is that of these 4 big river systems, Mahanadi river system network and Kaveri river system makes more the example of rectangular. However, Godavari and Krishna makes example of dendritic. drainage pattern. Should I complete the big river systems of peninsula at this? No. If NCERT says that there are 14 major basins, so which are the other river systems that we should be aware of? One by one we are picking them up. Picking the river which rises from Bangalore Plateau and drains in Bay of Bengal. This river network is river Pener or Peneru. It is in between river Kaveri. I am re-highlighting river Kaveri and labeling it here. And between Krishna. I am labeling it here. And if I step further north, I have got Godavari Delta. And after Godavari, we already have got Mahanadi Delta. So Godavari and Mahanadi. I am purposefully writing their names smaller. Peneru, the new name, and north of Mahanadi, rising from Chota Nagpur Plateau, is Brahmani. Rising from Amarkantak, draining west, Narmada. Rising from Gwaligarh, draining west, Tapi. Rising from Vindhyan, draining in Gulf of Khambat, Mahi. Rising from southern Aravali, draining in Gulf of Khambat, Sabarmati. Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, purposefully writing both the spellings, Mahanadi, Peneru, Brahmani, Narmada, Tapi, Mahi, Sabarmati are the 10 peninsular networks that as per our NCERT qualifies as major drainage basin in peninsula. And which are these? Remind yourself, I have highlighted them. Narmada rising from Amarkantak, Tapi rising from Gwaligarh, Mahanadi from Chhattisgarh, and Peneru from Bangalore tableland. Mahi rises from Vindhyan range and Sabarmati from Aravali. And once I take all these with Sahyadri, I get a clear reminder. I am picking up the belt that we have taken in NCERT just few minutes back. I hope you are recognizing. This is my national water divide, which are the 3 extra peninsular drainage, Gangetic, Brahmaputra and Indus, and which are the peninsular drainage, these are it. So quickly going to the extra peninsula, we already learned Mahi, Sabarmati, this is my Aravali, Banas, Chambal, we have learned this, Yamuna, Hooghly, River Ganga, Kosi, Gandak, Gagara, Gomati. Networking we are aware of. Brahmaputra also we have learned. This is Jamuna, this is Brahmaputra. This is Lohit, Sangpo river entering India as Dihang, Subansiri river, Manas river, Tista river. Carefully notice this. Rising from near Tibetan plateaus, source of Yarlong Zangbo. This is my river Indus. I have entered India. It takes a bend towards south and I have entered Pakistan. River Indus has got a right bank tributary in the Union Territory of Ladakh now. It is called Shayok. Right bank. Rest all the tributaries. I want to first mark up which is rising from Tibetan Plateau. Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Pakistan, Satluj. River Satluj. This is river Indus, this is river Satluj. And now carefully notice. River Bias, river Rabi, river Chenab, river Jhelum. Are we noticing the pattern gives me a near parallel look, trellis again. And this is where you need to understand that river Indus, river Satluj, river Sangpo and river Kosi, this is river Kosi, have got antecedent genesis. NCERT mentions it because all these rivers are rising from Tibetan Plateau, much beyond Himalayas. Narmada, Tapi, west flowing, Godavari, Krishna, Mahanadi, Brahmani. So which is this 14th river that major basin is involved with? I want to slightly zoom in here and river Barak. So in extra peninsula it is Gangetic, Indus, Brahmaputra and Barak. Aravali, Vindhyan, Satpura, Western Ghats, Chota Nagpur Plateau. Carefully notice what I am doing now. Mahi, Sabarmati, Narmada, Tapi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, Peneru, Brahmani, Barak, Brahmaputra, Ganga, Indus. The big river systems of the country demarcated in terms of their orientation. So which are the rivers that are draining in Bay of Bengal? It is river Barak, which actually becomes a tributary of river Jamuna. It is river Sangpo, which is called Brahmaputra in our country. It is river Ganga, which is the biggest river system of our country. Indus, by default, makes example of river that has got its discharge in Arabian Sea, but in our country it is not having its mouth. So concentrating on Bay of Bengal, it is river Ganga, the biggest river system. It is Brahmaputra and the tributary Barak. Then comes in river Brahmani, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Peneru and Kaveri. And the rivers that are draining west or draining in Arabian Sea, Indus, right here is Sabarmati, this is Mahi, this is Narmada and this is Tapi. I think it is easier now. Highlighting it one by one. See all Uttarakhand, major part of Haryana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gangetic Basin. What is Gangetic Basin? The largest river basin of the country. And from here, Tista, remind yourself, Tista is a tributary of Jamuna. Brahmaputra Basin. And right here is Indus Basin, the new union territories of our country, along with Punjab, Haryana. So I have got three major basins in extra peninsula, and the new one added to the list is right here, Barak Basin. So I am writing +1, extra peninsula. And now see the peninsular. You can easily recognize each one of them. Right here is Brahmani, Mahanadi. So I am just labeling it, Mahanadi, Brahmani Basin. Here it will be Godavari Basin. This is Krishna Basin. This is Kaveri Basin. This is Peneru Basin. Comparatively smaller ones now, Tapi, Narmada, Mahi, and right here, smaller one, Sabarmati. What exactly is meant by basins then? Is catchment area of a river network. And how many major drainage basins we have in our country? NCERT says 14, which has got more than 20,000 square kilometer of area. Counting them, number 1 Gangetic Basin, number 2 Indus Basin, number 3 Brahmaputra Basin, number 4 Barak Basin, then 5 Godavari, 6 Krishna, 7 Kaveri, 8 Mahanadi, 9 Peneru, 10 Narmada, 11 Tapi, 12 Brahmani, 13 is Mahi and 14 is Sabarmati. Apart from these, if I have to take any other details from our NCERT, so it's a table that shows comparison between Himalayan and peninsular rivers. This is very important. Otherwise, we have got description of which river is rising from where. So I have got the comparison based on place of origin. It's largely glacier and it is from northern mountain wall and it is from peninsular or central highland. Nature of flow, perennial, seasonal. Mind it, seasonal should not be taken that I dry up in a particular time of the year. I'll just talk about regime. Type of drainage is antecedent, I have already talked about it, and consequent. It is more of superimposed, rejuvenated, trellis, radial, rectangular pattern. Nature of river, long course, comparatively smaller. Catchment area, very large basin, relatively smaller, we have otherwise seen it. An age of river, which we talked about in the last video. If I am Himalayan river, I am youthful river. I am more engaged in valley deepening, and these are more engaged in valley widening. So that difference can further be demarcated between these river systems. I want to insist essentially on nature of flow. If I hypothetically plot a graphical representation showing months in horizontal axis and water volume on vertical axis, what exactly will be the case of the river water fluctuation? Hypothetically, because the ice starts melting January to December, this is how we are plotting it. So as the ice starts melting from month of March, there will be increase in the water volume, monsoonal precipitation, and then the water will recede again. This is called simple regime. So attempt the definition of regime. Regime is water volume fluctuations in any river or river system. Now what you need to understand is that because India is a typical monsoonal climatic country that has got its more than 70% of annual rain coming in 3 to 4 months of the year, by default we will have simple regime as our dominant example. However, because river systems are big and the divide that we essentially follow is peninsular and extra peninsular, so Himalayan rivers have got two sources of discharge. One is rain, two is glacier. Compared to it, the peninsular river has got only single source of discharge, rain. Which river system will show higher water volume fluctuation? Peninsular by default. And that is the reason NCERT reads Himalayan river are perennial and peninsular are seasonal. Not seasonal, they have higher regime fluctuations. This is very important. Remember, river Kaveri is an exception. Why? Upper catchment area advancing monsoon, lower catchment area retreating monsoon. It has got availability of precipitation for 6 months. So automatically it will give you lesser regime fluctuation. If I read it from NCERT slowly, steadily, it shows the same thing. River regime. The pattern of flow of water in river channel over a year is called its regime. The North Indian river originating from Himalayas are perennial as they are fed by glacier. The rivers in South India do not originate from glacier and thus their flow pattern shows higher fluctuation. I have already talked about it. And then there are certain examples which are being given here and you need to take references of them as regime fluctuation demarcation. Slight details, like when we talk about, see here, the two peninsular rivers display interesting differences in their regime compared to Himalayan river. The Narmada has a very low volume of discharge from January to July but suddenly rises in August. The flow of water in Narmada as recorded at Gurudeshwar shows the maximum flow of an order of 2300 cusecs while the minimum flow is only 15 cusecs. So it's a big change. Godavari has maximum discharge in May and minimum discharge in May and maximum in July, August. After August, there is a sharp fall in water flow, although the volume of flow in October and November is higher than that in any month of January, May. So what is the reason that we give us the variations? Like here also you can notice that from 3200 cusecs, it reduces only to 50 cusecs. And why it is so that they are showing different volume of water is not just because of their size, but also the time when they receive rainfall. And this is the reason seasonal term is applied to the peninsular stream in spite of the fact that they flow throughout the year. If I need to conclude this study thereby, I'll easily take up the river systems of our peninsula. I'm slowly, steadily highlighting them. And you also try to recall, we are talking about which river system where. So, picking this river from Northern Maharashtra and taking it to the delta in Andhra Pradesh. This is my Krishna river, Tungabhadra, Penaganga, Vardha, Venaganga, Indravati, Sabri and Sileru, Manjara, Bhima, Musi, Peneru river, Kaveri, Hemavati, Shimsha, Bhavani, Amravati, Panchaganga, Dudganga, clearly gives us the look of dendritic pattern, and not to miss out the national water divide. Tapi, Gwaligarh, Narmada, Amarkantak, Mahanadi, Dandakarne, Hirakud Reservoir Delta. This is river Hasdo, this is river Tel, this is river Brahmani. Chota Nagpur Plateau is the source, and river Brahmani have Saud, Koyal and Shank. This is Brahmani. Mahanadi. Narmada. Tapi. I have not taken the factual details of this river rising from this area that you can easily read from your NCERT, but simply reminding whether I take it up in terms of the orientation. So, Bay of Bengal takes maximum share. In terms of major drainage basin, we have got 14 river systems. And in terms of location, that is origin, we divide it into two. So, Himalayan and Peninsular river system. This is the best basis for us to classify and remember the drainage. Take the revision on this front. I hope it is going to help you out. Happy learning. All the very best to all of you.